Welcome back to Midnight at Hogwarts, where we uncover the truths they never wanted you to see. What if I told you that Severus Snape, the man hailed as a tragic hero, was actually a villain in disguise? That every act of love and sacrifice was just another layer of manipulation? Everything you believed about Snape was a carefully constructed lie, and by the end of this video, you'll never see him the same way again. The wizarding world wants you to believe a comforting story, that Snape was the ultimate double agent, a man who risked everything out of selfless love for Lily Potter. We've been spoon-fed the narrative that he was brave, misunderstood, and ultimately redeemed in death. Always, they said, as if a single word could wash away years of cruelty. But what if this story is nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion? Think about it. Why would a man who supposedly loved a child's mother spend years psychologically tormenting that same child? Why would a so-called hero openly humiliate, belittle, and traumatize students who are already vulnerable? The truth is, we've been manipulated into thinking Snape's abuse was somehow noble, that his bitterness was justified, his cruelty misunderstood. But the psychological evidence tells a completely different story, one far darker than fans want to admit. Let's ask ourselves, was Snape's devotion to Lily genuine, or was it a narcissistic obsession? Did he truly care about protecting Harry, or was Harry just a pawn in his twisted game of revenge? And most disturbingly, was Snape's redemption nothing more than trauma bonding, the illusion of goodness created by an abuser? Stay with me, because the psychological trail of evidence proves that Severus Snape wasn't a tragic hero at all. He was a villain in disguise, narcissistic obsession, not love. Snape's entire story begins with Lily, but what looks like love quickly reveals itself as obsession. In dark psychology, we call this narcissistic fixation, where the individual confuses control with love. Snape's relationship with Lily was never mutual. He idealized her, claimed ownership over her, and when she rejected him, his so-called love turned into bitterness and rage. A genuine hero might mourn, might learn, might grow, but Snape froze Lily in time, reducing her to a shrine in his mind. His always is not a declaration of eternal devotion, it's a confession of psychological imprisonment. And here's the horrifying truth. Protecting Harry wasn't about love for Lily. It was about possession, about punishing Voldemort for taking what Snape believed belonged to him. Harry was never a child to Snape. He was a relic of Lily, a twisted reminder of what he lost. That is obsession, not love. 2. Abuse is a mask of power. Let's look at Snape the teacher. Heroes don't torment children. Yet Snape systematically abused his students, especially Neville, Hermione, and Harry. This isn't just cruelty, it's psychological domination, gaslighting, humiliation, targeting the weak to elevate his own fragile ego. Remember when he told Hermione she was an insufferable know-it-all in front of the class? Or when he said to Neville, "Why is it always you? These aren't the words of a protector. These are the tactics of an abuser." And it's even more sinister when you realize Snape only targeted those he knew were vulnerable. He never humiliated Draco. He never stood up to powerful authority unless forced. His cruelty was calculated, a predator seeking easy prey. 3. Trauma bonding Harry and the audience. This is where it gets darker. Trauma bonding occurs when an abuser alternates cruelty with moments of protection, creating emotional confusion in the victim. And that's exactly how Snape operates. He bullies Harry relentlessly, only to save him at critical moments. He tears him down, then positions himself as the reluctant protector. The result? Harry and we, the audience, begin to question our own judgment. Maybe Snape isn't so bad. Maybe deep down he cares. This is the very definition of psychological manipulation. By the time his memories are revealed in Deathly Hallows, we are primed to reinterpret everything through the lens of redemption. But in truth, What we're experiencing is the classic cycle of abuse, cruelty, followed by crumbs of compassion, creating a false sense of loyalty. 4. The double agent myth. We're told Snape risked his life as a double agent, but look closely, his allegiance was never about protecting the innocent. It was about maintaining control. Notice how Snape never openly defies Voldemort until absolutely necessary. He aligns himself with power, always hedging his bets. When Voldemort rises, Snape slides back into the role of Death Eater seamlessly. His ability to deceive is celebrated as bravery. But in psychology, we recognize this as opportunistic manipulation. Heroes sacrifice without guarantee. Snape only risked himself when it served his personal agenda. Lily's memory, his revenge against James, his hatred of Harry, every sacrifice was transactional. 5. The final betrayal, death and legacy. Snape's death is framed as tragic, noble, and selfless. But think carefully, his dying act is not to apologize to Harry, not to acknowledge his years of cruelty. Instead, he demands, "Look at me." This is chilling. In psychology, we call this control until the end. His final words weren't about redemption, they were about possession. Snape wanted Harry to be the vessel of Lily's eyes, a reminder that his obsession outlived them all. Even in death, Snape took what he wanted: attention, validation, control. And here's the betrayal. The wizarding world reframed this moment as heroic. We were manipulated into forgiving years of abuse because of a single memory montage. That's not heroism, that's narrative gaslighting. Snape's bravery was really cowardice. He only acted when cornered. His love was possession. Lily was never given agency in his story. His protection of Harry was exploitation, trauma bonding disguised as care. His sacrifice was legacy-driven. He wanted history to remember him as more than a bitter failure. The psychological manipulation goes deeper than any fan theory admits. Snape wasn't just complex, he was dangerous. The horrifying truth is this: Severus Snape was not a hero. He was a villain hiding in plain sight, using the tools of dark psychology to deceive everyone, students, colleagues, even us as viewers. Think about what this reveals about human psychology. We are wired to forgive when we see a flash of vulnerability. We are conditioned to rewrite cruelty if it comes packaged with tragedy, and that's exactly why Snape's story works, because it exploits our innate desire to find redemption in broken people. But the evidence is overwhelming. Snape's love was obsession, his kindness was manipulation, his sacrifice was self-serving. He wasn't motivated by goodness. He was motivated by narcissism, possession, and revenge. This isn't just about Harry Potter. This is about us, about how easily we can be blinded by a carefully crafted narrative, how quick we are to excuse abuse if it's followed by an apology, or in this case, a memory. Snape's story is a warning that not every villain is obvious, and not every hero deserves the title. Sometimes the darkest manipulators are the ones we mourn, the ones we romanticize, the ones we think we've understood, and that is Snape's final deception. So what does this mean for us, the fans who grew up idolizing the tragic hero of Severus Snape? It means we must confront an uncomfortable truth. We were lied to. The narrative we believed was engineered to manipulate us, just as Snape manipulated Harry, Lily, and everyone around him. Snape wasn't brave. He wasn't noble. He wasn't redeemed. He was an abuser cloaked in tragedy, a manipulator celebrated as a martyr. And if we accept that truth, we can never watch the films the same way again. Now I want to ask you, how does this change your view of Snape? Do you still see him as a misunderstood protector, or as the psychological villain he always was? Let me know in the comments, because this conversation will shake the foundations of Harry Potter fandom. And don't keep this revelation to yourself. Share it with other fans, because they need to know the truth. But remember, this is only the beginning. Snape was just one mask of the darkness in the wizarding world. In our next exploration, we'll uncover the even more terrifying psychological manipulations hidden in the heart of Albus Dumbledore himself. Stay tuned. The darkness runs deeper than you think.